And like I said, in the fair weather, everyone is good to each other. Those contracts are for when things may go wrong. Or we take our life also to, like as if we are there for whenever, if something happens to you, if things change, people evolve, people start to do this business, those contracts are called contracts because they will contractually obligate the other party to do or serve what they are supposed to. So yeah, absolutely with you on signing them.
Well, now I'll move on from this hot topic to a little cozy thing, which is all around the world. Everybody is doing it, but sometimes we don't understand the value of it, and we don't understand how should we do it correctly. And that is content creation for a business.
Now the question is often asked, and this is a thing, should business create content? Thing is that think of it, Mariah Carey, best singer, okay? If she was only singing in the bathroom, would you and I know her song? No. I could be like the best product in the market. I'm like the best mic. And I only tell it to my neighbor and probably like my kids and the kids who come to play with them that, oh, I make the best mic. What's the point? I always feel, and I tell this to the founders or anyone who's listening, visibility is your responsibility. Why do you think, if you ever crossed Dubai Mall, have you not seen like big placards, like big branding of Louis Vuitton, of Rolex? You think Rolex needs branding at this stage? Why are they doing it? Because every time they pass by, like when you want to reward yourself that, oh, I've done great business and I want to get myself a watch, you would probably you would remember, I said, no, I want Rolex because so-and-so guy was there on Rolex. Like, or I want an Omega because, so-and-so was on Omega. Why? And they are such big brands. They're like our parents. They were aspirational for our parents' generation, but they're still spending for their branding, their visibility. Then who are you and me? And another very important thing is create content, but also understand what is the distribution of your content. I know in Dubai, I don't know, I hope it's not a controversial statement. A lot of companies, unfortunately, the kind of content you see are making just the old, the advertising rule book kind of content. It is the same thing. It's a boring old kind of ads that you see. There is nothing new that is happening. So there is definitely a need of great ideation, great picture taking, great production value for the content. So because that is how people will know your value. There's a reason why people fight between Adidas and Nike. A Nike guy would probably not go and buy Adidas because he's just how is he sold? Not just because of the quality of the shoes, but probably he says that, no, go get it, is my style and 3-stripe is someone else's style. But that is how you do it. And it is not difficult in today's time. Today's time is the easiest to make content. What you are doing, you are a founder. You could have happily been just doing your own business, but you are taking time out of your busy work to do this podcast. This is creating content. When people will get to know you as a person, then you would bring in your value because you can't fake it in content. How long can you fake it? So they will know where your heart is at, what is your story, how you were talking about your own business while we were this is content. And then they were like, oh, Dhangad, okay, I want banking. Then you can put 5 ads about banking. They would not know. But someone who has heard your podcast would remember Hemant. From Hemant would remember Dhangad and would come to you. This is personal branding, marrying content. If you can do it, do it.
So if I were to put it, visibility is the first thing you need to create the content for. Second thing, that we really need to connect it with the founder, which you mentioned. If I were to ask in somewhere in the lines of it, I've seen a lot of businesses, which you really mentioned as well, following the ad book. One is following the ad book, but a lot of businesses are failing or not understanding the right of type of content they should create. So how one can understand what content they should create, and they should not create for the sake of creating it, but what should be the reason? Like we had the why before.
See, before you even make a content, we are all consumer of content. So if I have defined that my business, this is my target audience. So we've done the audience profiling. What do you think would this kind of a person would like to watch? What is it? This is the kind of movies he would be watching. This is the kind of places he would be eating. This is probably his likes or dislike, right? So we figured out the profile of the target customer. So this is what you give to your marketing team. The marketing team is smart enough. They will work with the content team, with the social media team, and create the ad for that particular generation. Because these are the ones who are consuming my content. Like, for example, I have a very successful Instagram page. It's called Meghna Dikshit Official. My page, initially it started because I wanted to speak out. I wanted to talk about my journey as a mother, etc. Then I realized there were a lot of women who were interested in me. Right now, I have 52,000 odd mothers or moms who are watching my content on a daily basis. So I use it as a platform to talk about women empowerment, talk about, career choices, talk about law of attraction, a lot of other things, clarity, etc. that help me, or which brands to buy, which are the economic, are eco good goods for kids, etc. So I am using that to create the content because I know that is the target audience. I also have another page which is Maven. Now this is a page that I've started because this is for startup mentoring. Here I want men and women to come and probably understand if they have any aspirations of starting their business in UAE or already have a business and grow in UAE, whatever things that could help them. They could be facts, they could be experience sharing, they could be knowledge, they could just be success stories of others that would be coming on this page. So know your audience, like you have KYC in banking. Know your audience and then direct your content towards them. Second mistake I see a lot of people do is like, it is not compulsory for all founder to suddenly become Simi Grewal on day 2. Like you don't have to become, or you don't have to suddenly start being the most yo-yo and like start talking about things. No. Because people will see. Be authentic to yourself. You can be an introvert. So then your conversation could be, you could hire someone to ask you questions. Go and attend podcast. Go to the round tables. That is also content. And ask your team to cut tape from there and then probably make it which suits your personality. And probably there are other founders who love to talk, who are thought leaders, who are someone who have gift of gab and they have more to offer. They want to talk. Then use them. Or use someone in your team to do that. And Zomato did that for the longest time, right? In India, they had other faces. And then there's again a pitfall of it that once those employees leave, then who's the face of your content or who's the face of your brand? But my point is, don't do which does not authentically come to you. Because people can smell inauthenticity from a mile. They know you're putting it on, whether it is an accent or a content.
I have never seen this definition of how founders can create content. So whenever I sit across with the network of mine, I always discuss that we cannot create the content. We cannot create the content. But again, saying that they understand the importance of it, as you said, the visibility. But the way you have mentioned that as per your requirements or as per how you are, you can create the content. You don't need to be that yo-yo person or something. If you're an introvert or whatever it is, you as an entrepreneur need to figure out how you can create content.
I mean, what is the value of your brand and where you want to sit? And also another thing, like this is an exciting time where UGC is doing so well. So if you cannot create your content and if you have very happy customers, etc., can you create content through them? Would they be able to give you nice testimonials, which can be, short in a nice production value, which can, in a higher production value, can be cut nicely, put into a nice edit, and then bring about. And they are the people. And this is, there are so many strategies. There's proper content. There is teams. There are content tech companies sitting ready to do that. In Jitex, I recently met another company. They call themselves the Uber of UGC content. So if I'm a small business and I don't know how to hire influencer, etc., then I would just go on their platform, everything, there are templates ready. And then if someone comes to my shop and I say, you liked shopping with us, can you just tell us something, if your voice or your face, whatever. And then we take that footage, you put into this tech, it becomes like a nice template and you just put it out.
I'll move on to the future of tech content, but before that, a very small question. A lot of times when founders are starting, who don't have that why clear of starting up, will also distract in the content journey. There is an entertainment, there is an education, and there is your business being put out. What do you think, where is the thin line where you go entertaining as well and being educated, which is your main focus for your business?
See, it would be wrong to say that we think that it should be entertainment or edutainment, as they say, or only educational. This is your and my definition. They know their brand. There are some brands which have gone completely crazy because they are a yuppie brand. They're a Gen Z brand. They are putting up some fab nonsense, whatever. There is a company who has recently put Ganji Chudail as their content. You and I would not probably do it, but that went viral. I don't want to name the company, but it was like all over the internet. And I mean, their marketing team was on some kind of a thing. Like they said that it's okay because this is the kind of people they want to attract. It's a cosmetic company. So who are we to decide whether it is education or it is edutainment or is it only entertainment? Vidya Balan, she's such a serious actor. Her website, her Instagram is, that's her personal branding, is all nonsensical videos that she's putting. Cringe videos she's putting. But that is probably something that she relates to. That is the kind of humor that she wants to show because her movies are otherwise very serious. So you have to understand, like I said, in this case, like starting the business, know your why. For content, know your customer. What are the ways to reach? If I need to reach Gen Z, I am not a Gen Z. I would hire a Gen Z content creator guy. And I'd say, what do you think we should make? I would see some of the things at a Mac. I would have a listed values of my company. If there's a value match to the expression of the content, that matches the distribution of the content. There are some things which will look nice on TikTok, but those things cannot look nice on LinkedIn. Then you use that strategy and then you use it. That will it do good for my brand or would it completely like put me in a mess and would be a PR nightmare? So that decision has to happen. And that is intelligent marketing, meeting content, meeting your authentic brand value statement.
Well, this was really a masterclass on marketing, short masterclass. I will take a clip and as a business-minded person, I would put that as a course.
Nice. And we will learn from it. Business banking beyond and then what? Business masterclass. Perfect.
So true. I'll move on to the next thing which you are skilled in as well, which is future of content in tech. So can you share something on that?
I think a lot is already happening. I'm sorry to say, but see, I have been creating content now for last 5 to 6 years as a content creator. Like I said, I have been a face of Johnson's Arabia, BioOil. I've worked with around 100 odd brands in Middle East. So I'm this funny, a khichdi of someone who is a content creator, is also into business, is now helping other companies get into a lot of things. So I know both sides of the stories. The thing, unfortunately, right now here is in a lot of businesses, know that they want to do influencer marketing. Agreed, you need to do influencer marketing because micro-influencers have bigger engagement, more reach. But how do you know that supposing you and I are both influencers, you have 50,000 followers, I have 50,000 followers. Where is the tech, where is the analysis that tells me that out of those 50,000 followers, you give me this much click-through rate and I give nothing click-through rate because probably I have more bots than real followers. Who's doing all of that? And this is the necessity. Of course, there are some open source, there are Social Blade and those kind of websites, but how many companies are taking it? Unfortunately, a lot of companies at the beginning, they are doing marketing spend, but they do not even track ROI of those marketing. Why they are not tracking it? Because they don't have KPIs to track it. So they are hiring these influencers and they're paying the influencers or bartering, whatever be the case. But how do you know that hiring Meghna for this campaign has been useful versus hiring X person? And this is where content tech comes in. The other direction where content tech is coming in, I think you and I are already using it, is using for ideation and for scripting. People are already using ChatGPT. So if you just type in ChatGPT, like I'm a business owner, and I say that so I just define my target audience and I say, what are the kind of content, make a content plan based on this target audience. This is what I'm selling. Give me 10 days worth of script. It will be ready. ChatGPT would give you. Then you just have to implement it, like execute it. So you're already using AI there. Then think about it this way. And I know that 2 other real estate companies are already doing it. We are in real estate. AR has already come in. So they want to show you the house like I'm sitting here. Yeah, augmented reality is already coming, but it is content created in augmented reality. So I'll be sitting in my house, say in Spain, but I want to buy a property here in Dubai. And I would go to the website and I'll feel, oh, this is how the garden looks. This is how my house looks. So there's content creation. There's a Meta. The fashion shows are happening on that. So you as your brand also have to go in time. So you can't just be sitting thing and making a reel, which is great. But be aware like how you need to have smart finance person in your team. You also need to have a smart integrated marketing solution in your team. or a content tech.
What do you
The faster.
mean by integrated market?
What I feel is that, see, there are a lot of softwares for, for accounting, but there are some really good marketing solutions nowadays, which you can start implementing in your team itself, which is how you will get those KPIs. So which will give you that, okay, this month, this was the marketing spend. I'm actually giving everything. This is literally what I charge for, but I'm giving it to you. But this is, so basically it will totally give you that, okay, this many campaigns to be done, this is how many audience it reached, this was the ROI, these many clicks happened for a content that I had posted in February. Maybe the time was not right, but suddenly now because Diwali is coming, people are going back and doing it. So that content has again started going. It will track everything. And you can white label it. There are companies in India and other places, I'm sure, who already have that kind of a SaaS platform, and you can use it as your marketing thing. You have to train 2 of your people. They will train, in fact, and then you use it. So next time when you go to your bosses and the CEO and say that, how is the marketing doing? Then you can say that, okay, X, this particular thing, this is what we spent and this is the ROI. This is what typically sales guy says that, they spend, and where are the people? My team is still struggling to get the footfalls or getting the funnel is not creating. So now they will have the numbers. And also based on that, because now everything is AI, based on the past performance, then there is an inbuilt AI. It will tell you that when you use a woman in this age group with this kind of content, with this messaging, those ads tend to do better versus when you use a man, whatever this.
Which nobody is checking.
Very few people are checking. In India, they've started checking. US already is doing that. Time Dubai starts doing it. Dubai still is working on a very traditional PR model. PR companies bring, I get call. Trust me, there are sometimes I feel, it's for a fashion influencing company, they calling food bloggers. Their database itself is not sorted. Forget marketing intervention. Their database is old. There are so many companies who call me that, oh, Meghna, we noticed you have this, great whatever engagement, etc. But where we sent you something, but it's like, but I don't live there anymore. So your PR has to be more than just the intern. You have to actually have
the real
some attention given there, some seriousness.
So again, it is quality versus quantity as well. You are just trying to...
Yeah, don't undermine the branding effort. The marketing guys are not just, divas wanting attention. You, like I said, visibility is your responsibility. As a CEO, you can do only so many things. This is the time where content is everywhere. On a food app, on a shopping app, on a phone, 15 other apps. How can you not be building content at this time? And why are you not using free distribution? Instagram, LinkedIn, people are spending money still. I don't want news in the news channel, etc. How many of us read that newspaper? And they're spending tons into those news ads. Okay, you're doing a little bit of SEO, but what? You didn't find me because of SEO. You found me because of LinkedIn, or somewhere you must have seen some content of mine.
Well, that was really crux of it. And thank you for not charging me for that. Last thing on that is about personal branding. So we'll touch a little bit base on that as well. How we can create our personal branding with the right content creation.
I'll try to give you an example. And I think whether we like it or not, we all have a personal branding. When we were in the class, a teacher would say, this is a naughty one. Or she'd say, this is a very flamboyant one. That was your personal branding. How your friends and people know you, that is your personal brand. You want to know what your personal brand is? Ask, just randomly send messages, what do you think about me in 5 adjectives, and you'll get your personal brand. Now the point is, but this is okay for as a person, but the moment you add an identity to yourself. So Meghna Dixit as a friend, probably whatever the personal branding is. But now when I come to you and I wear the hat that, okay, I am Meghna Dixit, who is an entrepreneur and a coach and a content creator, then my personal brand should also say that. And the way I dress, the way I talk, my numbers, the way I speak, the kind of places I go and speak, the kind of businesses I do, everything has to be in alignment with my personal brand.
And it has to be authentic.
And so people who think, and it has to be authentic, because otherwise my personal brand is fake. People would know, oh, that one, oh, she's a fake. There are so many
It's
people.
fake personal.
Yeah, that's a fake person. There's so many people who you remember. There's a show which is going where you know fabulous wife or whatever. There are people with fake personal branding. They are not that in real life, but for the sake of camera, reality TV, a lot of people put in. That is their strategy. Again, who's we to judge? Whatever it is that you're doing. But the tragedy is when you are trying to build an authentic personal branding, but the means, because your team does not understand what value you bring, and then you go uncomfortably in front of the camera and just saying things, and one can see that this is not really you because you don't talk about these topics. These are not the things that you're passionate about. So that's your personal brand. So people who think that just making Instagram videos personal brand, no, it is way more than that. It's how you conduct yourself, is why people would pay to talk to you or would pay to, to kind of have a share in your business. That's your personal.
So this is about how you build your personal branding, and it has to be authentic and many more details. But why personal branding is important, and how do you connect with your business? Let's say I'm a person who's a lot jolly person. I crack jokes, but my company is more of a very different kind of business, maybe investments, maybe banking, which is not aligning with my personal life being authentic. How do you balance this? And should we go in that case on the same personal branding of a true authentic person, or try to change that?
See, this is a very good question. And there's no one right way of answering it, because again, as humans, there are different people have worked differently. Now, I'll just tell you my opinion. A lot of people, when I decided to come into as a startup mentor, etc., a lot of people told me that, Meghna, you people would not take you seriously, because you come across as this, as an influencer type. And typically the stereotype of influencer is that women who are beautiful and who like dance for views, etc. But will people pay to take advice from these women for business? To which I said, that is me. This is me too. The woman who drops her child in the morning to school is me. The woman who makes food for her husband is also me. But because I own all facets of me and I'm okay with it. So when I come and meet a client, yes, I will be smiling. Yes, I'll be wearing nice clothes. Yes, I would know what is the latest trending video on TikTok. And I would also know what is the latest trend in the business. Now, if they would want me as their mentor, great. If they don't, then they are also not my target audience. The whole idea with personal branding, people think is, why are we so desperate to sell ourselves? Why we need so much that everyone should like me, and why should we adhere to a stereotype of the industry? Okay, when you're a banker, you should be wearing, formals and all of that. But you starting this company and you're actually wearing a t-shirt and a jacket. You have relaxed. When if you're working in some other bank, probably this is not how you would be dressed in a jeans, etc. Why? Because you have created a professional but cash attitude here of your company. When I came in, I found that this is a young place. This is a place which is approachable, which is not so three-piece suit types that anyone can walk in and ask questions and set up their business. Why did you do that? Not because this is your personal brand. This is who you are when you're not doing the job. So there is no right and wrong answer in this. I have seen some very serious businesses, and we were a very serious business when we were doing cricket, for example, Nimbus. But the boardroom things were pretty fine. We were a media company, but then a lot of people were there were bankers there were people from McKinsey, there were people from like very strict, industry, so to say. But then we were all wearing sneakers because it was a cricket company and we could be chilled. But we were talking business.
So you meant to say that people who are judging you on your other part of life is not your target audience, and you don't want...
Personally, for me, not. But there are people who are very conscious about it. Then they should not be like me. Be authentic to your cause. For me, it does not matter. If I walk into the room and someone meets me, and if their takeaway from it is, oh, she is, flamboyant, then it's okay. That is what they took away. But if they speak with me and they realize, oh, she's flamboyant, but she also has, beauty with brain or whatever, if they want to say, then that's great. It doesn't matter to me if he thinks it's flamboyant, as long as they think that I can be useful for their business. I can actually guide them. It doesn't matter what they think of me.
very nicely put up. It cleared a lot of doubts personally to me and everybody who's watching as we are discussed, because there's a lot of things which I can learn from you and the audience out there. We will have a second series of our podcast as well. So everybody who's watching this will watch the next series, which is about Mevan Consulting, which is a consulting which is focusing only on women entrepreneurship. And I love that because our CEO,
No, it's not only focusing on women entrepreneurship. It's one of the vertical. It's focusing on building businesses in Dubai for any
building businesses in Dubai, focusing both men and women.
men and women.
But do you have a moat or USP related to women as well?
So basically, Maven Consulting is there's business consulting science, strategy consulting. The other vertical is women coaching, and the third is content. Content creation. So it is my content with me. And also now I'm since a growth partner with another content tech company. So these startups can take the help of the content tech and create their content.
So now, because we have lots of discussions which is still due with Meghna, and as we had discussed that we want to make this as a series for all the people who are watching us and people who want to learn more about business. And for that, the next series is about Mevan Consulting, which is totally into business consulting landscape from starting to scaling and all the verticals around a business.
Yes, thank you.
So Meghna, now I want to touch based on something which is very close to my heart, which is women entrepreneurship. So why did you choose to coach women?
Okay, now I have a very interesting story here. We've talked about my journey so far, right? From head of HR, then consulting and all of that. When I was at the peak of consulting, and I was telling you I was consulting Polyglot, we realized that I was pregnant. And I've always wanted to be there for my child when that happens. I quit. It just took me 3 months. I decided to enjoy my pregnancy. And I remember my partner, the owner of the consulting firm was like, Meghna, but why? Why would you want to take? You can do it. We'll figure it out, the timing. I said, I just want to take this break, this maternity break. That maternity break became a 3-year gap. 3 years I was there. I did everything. I followed attachment parenting principle. I was raising my daughter. Anyone who's raising children as an expat know that it requires a lot of time. Of course, there are choices, there are help, etc. We are lucky here in Dubai, but I wanted to do it completely as a hands-on mother, and I took that time. Me being me, that is a time when I started content creating. So a new journey started completely. And of course, it got monetized because I became the face of the brands, etc. But while I was doing this, I met a lot of women who in Dubai have come as a +1. And then later when I researched, I realized that if there are 80 people or 80% of the men who have come here as an expat to work, they have brought, and those out of those who have brought their families, there is a huge chance where the woman, when she has come as a +1 or a dependent visa, did not find a job here, or probably did not even start a business initially. So what is the talent doing in UAE? The talent is, somehow upskilling themselves, gone the family way, taking care of the children, taking care of the family. But do you realize how much talent and energy and tools, like we said, is there in these women to give? But they don't have the access because probably they do not want to do a full-time job because they also have to take care of the children. So this is something where I felt that these are the women who need clarity, they need confidence, they need direction, and they need some assistance. Luckily, there are many organizations in UAE. There is IWN, there's It's Her Way, there are some women incubators, etc. that are working. But my talk is about women between 30 to 40 who have now kind of coming closer to the empty nest time, and they have so much in them. They want an identity of themselves, and what should they do? So I professionally learned life coaching. I learned women empowerment coaching. And since last year, I have coached 50 different women. And the whole idea was as how I found my way. I did a job, left job. I have been a stay-at-home mom, found the jobs again, found a niche for myself again, started my own company again without compromising on the income or the quality of my life. I still go and pick up my daughter every afternoon, having that, the work-life balance. If it is possible for me, I wanted to bring this, share my secret with others and bring more women in so that they can benefit from it. And that's literally why I started coaching women.
So what do you think is the importance of coaching for women? What is the importance?
the importance, I mean, come on. The problem here is most women have forgotten about themselves. The fact is that they are so busy running, being the mother, being the wife, being, this daughter-in-law or other friends to others, that when was the last time when they actually sat and think, this is what I want to do? A lot of time they also tell, and the fun part is that there are a lot of supportive husbands as well. They also want these women to do something constructive, something which will be great use of their talent, whether professionally or voluntary services, or just, maybe creating content, being, using their skill set to do tuitions or being a homepreneur or anything, but using that energy either to upskill themselves or to monetize what they already have. So if I have to start suddenly, it can be a very daunting task. Why coaching is important? Because a woman coach, probably if you choose her right, probably have gone through the journey like you, probably understand it when you say that, no, I can do a job, but it is important for me to make home cooked meal for my family. She understands it. And then help you find your goals, help you also find the action plans to reach those goals, and probably even help you make you meet people who can help you, because she has market access as well. So this journey is like, I think it again starts with, do you want to do it? You just have to ask for help. And this is what I tell women. There are coaches who can help you.
So Meghna, thank you so much for taking the time out here and discussing on the most important points a businessman should know.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and I really appreciate the quality of this conversation. I'm so glad that you asked me these questions, and I really appreciate that you as a founder also gave me a feedback right here. So this means a lot more, rather than just a monologue of what I think is right. This was a beautiful conversation, and I can't wait to have more such.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.